The Glock Model 29 10mm, let's check it out. Glock introduced the Model 17 in 1982. It entered into Austrian service. Made in Austria, founded in Austria, Glock has become legendary across the gun world. It's not the prettiest gun on the market, but it's definitely one of the most reliable and just most utilitarian tools for military, law enforcement, and civilians. I've been shooting Glock for over 30 years, and I just really feel at home with the Glock. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Model 29, which is their compact version of their 10mm G20. The Glock Model 20, which is the full-size 10mm, was introduced in 1991. And then in 1997 they released their compact version, the Model 29. Now 10mm is the top of the food chain for Glock, the Model 20 obviously being really the standard, but then the compact on the 29. A lot of people steer clear of the 29 because they're concerned about the recoil with 10mm. But these are really sweet to shoot for that caliber. They also have the Glock 40, which is the long slide version. This is a Gen 4, and they also make the Glock 29 SF for short frame. Guys, there's just something about 10mm, and a lot of people get excited about 10, and I understand why. I mean, it is a full power load, and yet it's not punishing. The 10mm was designed by the FBI after the Dade County shootings. They really wanted something that could just up the game. Now, unfortunately, most people couldn't handle the 10mm, so they dropped it down to 40 caliber, which 40 caliber is just a shortened 10mm. But 10mm is still a very powerful round and very popular. You can use this for self-defense. You can actually use this, if you're on a hunting expedition. The caliber has a lot of potential. The first thing we're going to do is drop our magazine. It does have a 10-round magazine. It comes with two. And we're going to check the chamber, and it's empty. This is a Glock, guys, and many of you have seen Glock reviews. And guys, if I could only have one handgun, I've said this 1,000 times, would be the Glock G29. Because it's not because they're pretty, it's because they just work. And I've had a lot of rounds I put through them. And so for me, grabbing a Glock is just like coming home. Now, one of the things about the 29 is it is a thicker pistol. But of course, the Model 20 is what started it all. And we're going to go ahead and drop the magazine. It is 15 plus 1, and the gun is empty. The one thing about the G20 and the G21, which is in the 45 caliber, is that they are full-size, thick guns. I mean, this is the Gen 3, so it is a solid, almost, you hear a 2x4 when you grab a Glock. Well, this is honestly getting close. I mean, it is a big grip and just a very big firearm. It's bigger than their standard models, their 9mm and their 40s and those. But there's a lot of power that's going behind this, so they needed to up the frame size. They needed to up the slide. And that will give it Glock reliability. Now, compared to your 29, you can see quite a bit of difference. I mean, we can go through all the specs, but it's not really that important. What's important is that this is a compact version of this pistol. This, to me, with the Gen 3, it just is a little thick. With the Gen 4, they removed part of the grip back here because now they have grip extensions or grip panels. And here you get 4 different sizes, even 2 with a little bit of a beaver tail. And so this way it'll suit whoever. For me, I like it slim because this grip is already a little thicker already because also the magazines are thicker. Now I have Talon grips on this Model 20, And guys, I'll be putting Talon grips on this one. I just like the Talon grips, and with the recoil, even though it's not punishing, it's just a lot more recoil than, you know, your 9mm, even your 40. And so I like to have those Talon grips on there. It gives you a really good grip. But with the Gen 4 texturing, it's got really nice aggressive texturing, little pyramids. You do have your finger grooves, which with Gen 5 they did away with, but they're not making Gen 5 at this point for the 29 or the 20. You do have an extended magazine release though. It's larger, so it just drops your mags. They are drop free. The magazines are polymer, but they do have a steel reinforced lining inside. But you can also take your Glock 20 mags and use those. So you've got 15 rounds, and you know, it gives you a little bit more capacity. Slip one of these in your back pocket if you decided to conceal carry this. One thing that I've actually got on order is a spacer that goes in between the base plate and right here. So it keeps this from overextending into and keeps it from wobbling around. Just something I thought I would do. Now, one thing about these pistols is it is a very short grip, and very similar to the Glock 26. And with that short grip, now my hands are medium, so if you got just even large hands, it's really going to hang off this edge. And shooting 10mm, you know, you kind of really want to have a full grip. But honestly, one thing I found, just like with the 26, that it shoots very well. In fact, my 26 shoots just as good as my Model 19. A lot of that has to do with the recoil system. It's a little bit different. And to give you a little bit of a size comparison, here's the Glock 26 9mm. It's also 10+1, and this is the Gen 5. You'll notice the no finger grooves here, and I really like the Gen 5, honestly. I would really like to see them come out with a 29. But the slide is definitely thinner. The 10mm just ups it a little bit. And then that also translates into the grip. And so you're getting a little bit thicker grip than you are with the 26. And it's just overall a little bit larger handgun. Not much on the front end, and actually pretty close on the bottom end. But these are both 10+1. Just got a really thin gun with the 26. I carried the 26 for over 10 years, and I've just switched to the Glock G43X, mainly because of the Shield Arms S15 magazines, where I have 15 in one. And there are a lot of people that feel the same way, but I'm not myopic with Glock. I love a lot of different handguns. Because guys, again, we live in the golden age of firearms. There are so many different choices. But there's not really anything that matches the G29, in my opinion, as far as size and the durability. I would love to take this. In fact, I'm going to take it with me hunting. It's just a great sidearm to have. Much better than the 9 when you're hunting, and much smaller than the Glock G20. Now the barrel is 3.8 inches in length, and on the Glock 20 it's 4.61 inches. So it's not even an inch difference in barrel length, but the grip is definitely considerably shorter. One thing, of course, is they do have the safe action trigger, and you know, it has that little blade to keep you from firing. And then when you put it on there, you know, you can fire the pistol. We'll take a look at trigger pull, which this is typical for Glock. You do have your slide release right here. It is minimal. You have your takedown here, and it's only on one side. Now the Gen 5s now have the slide release or slide stop on the other side. Now, of course, the Tenifer finish is what they had for a number of years, and they've changed that, but the finishes on the Glocks are just excellent. They hold up so well. One thing about the steel of the slides is a lot of guys, especially in other countries, have sharpened their knives using their Glock slides because they're so hard. And my buddy Robbie Wheaton, who is a gunsmith, said that the Glock slides are some of the hardest to mill because the steel is just excellent. Now this one just has the rear cocking serration. Some of the Gen 5s have the front, but that's what you've got. Also, you have a Picatinny rail with one slot. We have a squared off trigger guard. You have a little bit of a divot here to put your hand in, and then the frame kind of comes out a little bit here. Beveled at the front, I really like that. And it has the polymer standard Glock sights, and of course there are 1,000 options out there, and I am going to be changing these sights out. I would like to get some night sights for it. All right, we have 9mm here on the right. We have 40 Smith & Wesson. We have the 10mm. You can see there's a definite difference. Smaller diameter bullet compared to a similar diameter with the 40 and the 10mm, because the 40 is the baby of a 10mm. Now, one thing that a lot of people think is the FBI started testing the 10mm and their agents couldn't handle the recoil, so they dropped it to 40, but that's not quite the case. Really, the reaction times to get second, third follow-up shots with 10mm just took more time. And so they really thought that they needed to back that down to make sure that they could get maximum energy and yet be able to quickly get back on target. They ended up going back with the 9mm. But that is the biggest reason, is getting on target quicker. Now, these are all full metal jacket, but in self-defense loads, there's so many different choices and there's so many variations. I mean, the bullet weights are so different. So what I did was compare the Hornady critical duty ammunition. But guys, again, with the 10mm, because of the excessive recoil, you're not going to be able to get your speed up to what you can with the 40, and even more so with the 9mm. And here we have 10mm and 357 Magnum. But these are going to be both excellent to carry on your hip during a hunting trip, or even possibly in the wintertime where there may be a lot of clothes on someone, and that's going to give you some advantage with these two. Guys, for those of you who are very familiar with the Glock trigger, this is definitely a typical Glock trigger. We do have the little blade safety that's going to keep this from firing unless you get a full grip onto the trigger, and then you depress it. We have some take up right here, and then we have the brake. There's some stacking. Guys, it's just a typical Glock trigger. Reset right there. Let's check the trigger pull weight with our Lyman trigger gauge from Brownells. 5 pounds, 14.7 ounces, and I've done that a number of times. It comes out about the 5.5 pound mark. I want to thank Fiocchi for sponsoring the ammo, all made right here in the USA. This is 180 grain jacketed hollow points, so we have some full metal jacket as well. This should be good. I think it's 1,200 feet per second, so it's going pretty good. Now, when it comes to going to the range with 10mm, you really anticipate some really heavy recoil, especially in this small little compact pistol. But honestly, once you master the grip, once you know what it's going to do, it just seems to really settle down. First couple of magazines I fired through it, I was somewhere else. I was at a range, my gun club. We shot a few rounds through it, and you know, it seemed to pinch a little bit on my pinky. This time I got very little of that. One thing I did get was a little bit right here on my knuckle, but wasn't too bad, and that was after shooting 200 rounds of 10mm. It really shoots fairly flat. You know, it's just got a really solid grip to it. The finger grooves actually help because of the 10mm. You feel like you've got a little bit better grip on the firearm. But overall, once you get used to what it's going to do, you know, I could manage shooting this very well. I was very impressed, honestly. Now, one thing we did do was switch to the 10mm to the 9mm. I just wanted to see how it looked on camera. I wanted to let you guys see what some of the difference was. And there was a considerable difference. With the Glock 26, you know, it was just a really light shooting gun, and it already is. Again, to me, the 26 shoots like the 19 or the 17. It's just, I don't know why, it's the recoil system, but the big thing is it just shot a lot softer. So I think overall, if you're gonna carry something like this, even if you're gonna carry it hunting or a backup, you need to get some practice with it. But once you do, I think you're gonna find that it's not that bad to shoot. But you can definitely tell the power is coming out with the 10 over the 9mm. For disassembly, drop your magazine, check to make sure the gun is unloaded. First thing we do is pull the trigger, pull back on the slide about 1/8 of an inch, and grab these two little tabs that are on either side of the frame. Pull that down. For some reason, this is a little more difficult. There we go. And then you have your recoil spring. It's dual captive. This really does help with felt recoil. Then we have our barrel, which is the Glock polygonal barrel. Don't shoot reloads, a lot of lead loads. It'll deposit into those polygonal grooves, and it can cause a catastrophic malfunction. With the gun itself, Glock's, you know, always very utilitarian, but they do good work. This is your firing pin safety or striker safety right here, and just like any other Glock. And of course the frame, definitely a Glock. Reassembly, just in reverse order. We're going to drop in our barrel, put in our recoil spring and guide rod. Bring your slide back over your frame, just like this. Test for function, and we're good to go. And it comes with the standard Glock box. And again, you get your firearm, you do get these back straps, and you do get an extra magazine, brush, cleaning rod, your normal stuff. Now we're going to do a little upgrade video coming up. This is just such a standard Glock, standard sights, and we're going to kind of do some upgrading, and I'm going to talk about it. One thing though that I would immediately recommend is putting one of these small little pierce grip. This doesn't add any magazine capacity, but it just gives you just a little bit more lip. And they also have some that do the mag capacity. We're going to have those as well. So that's coming up because I just want to show how I'm going to set this thing up. But to be honest with you, it's good to go as it is. Now, a couple of things about this firearm as far as 10mm carrying it. There is more recoil than your 9mm, for that matter than your 40. So one thing about this firearm is that if you're going to shoot it or carry this for self-defense, just take it to the range and get a feel for how the recoil reacts. And once you do that, you seem to be able to get good control of the recoil. The recoil management, you know, it definitely is a little more powerful, but there's a lot that has to be said about having this polymer frame. And Glock says this actually absorbs some of the recoil. The guide rod definitely helps the way it's designed, but you've still got a really powerful round. Would I recommend carrying a 10mm for a concealed carry? Personally, I'm not going to carry this as my standard concealed carry, but again, I'm going to carry this on the trail. I'm going to carry it hunting. You know, if I really want something and to up the power, this is a great option. But there's a lot of guys that carry full house 1911s and, you know, a lot of other firearms. So, you know, really it's up to you what you want to carry and what you feel confident in. So I feel like the 10mm definitely has a lot of merit. You know, I mean, we're talking about 357 Magnum up to 41 Magnum. This is a very capable round with ballistics and bullet weights. But guys, if you're really sensitive to recoil, I would stick to 9mm. Now, I've been wanting one of the Glock 29s for a long time. I have the Model 20, I love it, and I have a number of other 10mm semi-automatic pistols. But there's something about having a small, compact pistol that shoots 10mm that you could even carry concealed that to me is just really appealing. So guys, if you want power, if you want something you can carry and you know it's going to perform very well, the Model 29 is easy to stow away, and yet you have that power you can bring out just at your fingertips. 10mm is definitely a devastating round, but with the way that the Glock 29 is designed, it's really a pleasure to shoot. You know you've got a 10mm in your hand, but you also know you've got a good solid grip on it and that it's going to be reliable. And as far as price goes, these typically run between $550 and $600. Of course, right now in 2020, prices are a little bit crazy. But Glocks right now especially are very difficult to find because it is just one of those guns that you know is reliable and a lot of people are buying them. I really appreciate my buddy for offering this for sale, and because I've been wanting one for a good while. And guys, I'm not disappointed. Rubber Dummies is one of the best training tools on the market, and you get a 10% discount using Suit00 when you click the link down in the description. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Let's check it out. Check it out, check it out, check it out. Even though it's not just off, just in reverse order. I'm having some issues here, I don't know why. And so, you know, okay. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the freaking stupid dog. Come on, dog. God bless America.